Hey, Molly. Are you there? I was just curious if you saw the condo photos that I sent you earlier. The view is from so high up. I was just so excited that I had to show everyone my new view. And it has a huge living room and even a concierge. I knew that getting with a CFO would be a good idea. Having a rich husband is great.
No, actually, I didn't look at the photo and I don't appreciate all your bragging. So please just leave me alone, all right?
You know, if you don't want to talk to me, you could always just block me. But the fact that you haven't until now means that you secretly want to hear about how amazing my life is.
Yeah, that's really not what's going on here at all. And I haven't blocked you because you're my sister. I only haven't blocked you for that reason and that alone.
You always have the same old lame excuses. Do you know that? If you really loved George, then you'd have blocked me by now. Or do you think that you'll somehow be able to take him back from me? Because I can tell you right now that that's not going to happen. George doesn't have even an ounce of feelings left for you, so there.
Oh boy, here we go again.
I'm just saying that it's clear you can't let him go. Or the fact that I was able to steal him from you. But it's your fault for not keeping your eyes on that rich man of yours. And to think that you two had been dating for 5 years before I was finally able to make him all mine. I knew that you two were even thinking about marriage, but I guess I put an end to all of that right away, didn't I? So why don't you just accept that I've won and just leave us to be in peace already?
You're the one who messaged me in the first place. And I don't want George back at all, thank you very much. Why can't you just accept that I have a lot of complicated feelings about all of this? I mean, you're my sister, but I wish that you would quit rubbing this in my face all the time.
Oh, man. You really are just such a crybaby. Do you know that? You think your crocodile tears are going to change anything? If anything, it just makes me think of you as all the more pathetic.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. You don't have to be like that to me.
Yeah. You can say whatever you want, but all I hear is a little loser asking for her boyfriend back. It's not cute, though, and you won't be getting George back.
I'm not trying to get pity from you, or get George back. How many times am I going to have to say that? Yes, we were talking about getting married, but we're apart now and I don't think about it. And besides, he was the one to get with you, so why would I want to marry a man like that now?
There you go, making up all those lame little excuses again. It really is just sad, you know? But maybe he left you because you're such a crybaby? And for that, I'm going to have you in the very back at mine and George's wedding.
Wait, what? What wedding? What are you talking about?
Oh, didn't you hear? We're going to be getting married this year. He told me that he can't wait any longer and wants to do it right away.
You have got to be kidding me. I was shocked when you two moved in together, but now you're telling me that you're getting married too?
Well, duh. I mean, George is already 30 years old. And I guess that his dad had a long talk with him about taking responsibility. Not to mention he has a lot to think about with work. So we figured the easiest thing to do would just be to marry each other as soon as possible.
Oh, I see. Well, no, I hadn't heard any of that at all.
Oh, don't worry. You'll be getting an invitation when we have more details figured out. But just remember that you're going to be kept to the very back of the whole affair. I can't wait to see your crying face at the very end of the walkway. Yours is going to be the last that we see before we drive off into the sunset together.
Oh man, don't you have any pride for yourself, Molly? If you really want to get back together with me, you should just talk to me about it directly.
What in the world are you talking about, George?
I mean that I saw you just now in the office. You came to my dad to try and make him get back together with you, right? Have to say that I'm pretty shocked. I didn't realise that you wanted me so badly. I'm a bit of a bad boy, if you hadn't noticed.
Literally, what in the world are you talking about? Have you hit your head or something like that? I don't want anything to do with you ever again, and your dad called me here to talk to him about something else.
And just why would my dad want to talk to my ex-girlfriend, He doesn't associate with bottom feeders like you. He's too busy.
He was suspicious about why we broke up after 5 years just for you to end up with my sister. And he was surprised to hear about you and my sister getting married, so he called me to discuss that.
Oh, yeah, that does sound like him, I guess. He just can't learn how to mind his own business. But who cares who I date? It's my choice. He needs to learn to butt out and let me live my life.
I think it's that your dad is worried about you and wants to make sure that you're making good choices.
Yeah, I'm sure that's the excuse he gave you for his actions. But it's so obvious that you came to the office today to try and beg for me to get back together with you. Your obsession with me is really just getting sad at this point, Molly.
I think the only person who thinks anyone is sad here is your dad about you. In fact, he apologized for your actions to me today. He apologized for what you did, and then he gave me a rather thick envelope.
Oh, I get what's going on now. You were blackmailing my dad about what I did so that you could get a big payout. Is that it?
You have got to be kidding me. Do you really think that's what's going on?
You know that we weren't even engaged yet, right? Oh, but I get why you'd be mad about wasting 5 years of your 20s with me. I would want to pay out too if I was a poor little nobody like you. But man, it really is sad when you get caught red-handed taking money like that, isn't it?
You really have no idea about anything that happened between your dad and I. But yes, if you really must know, he did give me some money.
There you go. I called it. I guess at least there was a silver lining to getting dumped by me after all. Hope you think of me when you spend that money.
Again, you have no idea at all what you're talking about, and the only person I feel any gratitude towards is your father. I know that you and my sister are getting married, but I wouldn't do anything more to upset your dad. He really is getting on his last straw with you.
Ah, well, thank you so much for your concern, but I think I'm going to keep on living my life however I want. Especially if that means avoiding marrying an old hag.
Hey there, sis. Did you get the invitation to my wedding? I bet that you were pretty surprised, weren't you? Did you look at where we were going to be having it? It's a pretty amazing place.
Oh, yes. I saw the venue. It sounds like a pretty amazing place. Even the invitation was all shiny. And haven't a bunch of celebrities gotten married there too? This must be costing a lot, no?
Well, that's what happens when you marry a CFO! Did you really think we were going to have some tiny wedding? And the catering is being done by one of the best places in the city, too. We've even got a Michelin chef to create the menu for us.
Wow. So much money, all to spend it all on just one day of celebration.
Well, this day is going to be one of the most important in my entire life. I'm going to be the star of the show, and everyone is going to see how bright I'll shine. Ooh, maybe some celebrities will even show up to help me celebrate it. Just thinking about it makes me so excited.
I get being happy about your wedding, but do you have any idea how much it's going to cost? I mean, I know that George is rich, but even he doesn't have limitless wealth. And you've basically been nothing but a mooch ever since you graduated.
I have not been a mooch or anything like that. At all. I've made my own money off of modeling, thank you very much. I'm a model with an agency and everything. Sure, I have a part-time job that I have at my office and everything, but I'm a model. Don't get me wrong.
It sounds to me like you have a really booming career there. But are you really saying that a part-time model and her unemployed fiancé are going to be able to afford something like this? I hope you two weren't planning on trying to pay for the whole thing through your wedding gifts.
Who is unemployed here? Besides, there's really nothing to worry about at all. I mean, George's dad is going to be paying for it all anyways. So we're not going to be paying for anything.
Hold on a second. You mean that George's dad really said that he's going to pay for it?
Oh, come on. Surely you can't be surprised about that, right? I mean, of course he was going to. George is the CFO of his company. Of course his dad is going to pay for the wedding. Not just the venue. He's going to pay for the catering and staff and everything. We won't have to spend a single dime.
But what I want to know is, if George's dad really actually promised that he would pay for your wedding, I mean, did he actually say those things? Because as far as I know, his dad really didn't seem to approve of his son sneaking around one bit.
Oh, George told me all about how you were called into his father's office and how you probably tried to rat us out for your own benefit. But even then, there was no scolding that came or anything. Don't you get it? This just proves that I've won. I'm in and you're out, and that's that. He clearly approves of our wedding, and it's obvious that he's going to support us.
Okay, I mean, I wasn't going to throw a fit about it or anything like that. I was just curious about what he said is all.
And just why in the world do you even care now that this doesn't even involve you, huh? Did you really think his dad wouldn't support his own son? I mean, you know that George is going to take over the company once his dad steps down, don't you? There's no way that he wouldn't pay for a wedding with so much on the line.
Well, that's interesting that you say that because I'm actually not so sure he is going to be taking over.
You really have no idea what you're talking about. You're just jealous because we're going to have the amazing wedding that you never could. But don't worry, it's not like we're not going to invite you. In fact, the both of us really hope that you show up. We want to rub your face in our success.
Well, I'm your sister, so of course I was going to be at the wedding. But you said you were going to sit me in the back. So I'm still wondering if you even have a seat actually saved for me at this point.
Oh, come on. That doesn't mean you're going to miss the wedding, though, right? You have to be there to sit in the back and look all sad for us. And you have to make sure to bring us a big wedding gift. We won't be accepting anything less than about 10 grand.
Hold on a second. You're not really asking your guest to be giving you $10,000 as a gift, are you?
Oh, come on. This is going to be the wedding of a lifetime. Did you really think the ticket to get in was going to be cheap? Besides, don't you want to come and see your one and only little sister getting married? This is never going to happen again. Surely money's no object for you to be there for me, right?
What in the world are you talking about? How can you seriously be asking for that? That's just absurd.
But you're missing some of the perks that you get of sitting in the front row. That means that when you walk through the door, you've already found your seat. Honestly, in a lot of ways, you're getting the VIP treatment. Don't you see that?
I have no idea who in their right mind would pay $10,000 for entrance into any kind of wedding. But I'm certainly not going to be shelling out that sort of cash to go see some failed model get hitched.
Excuse me. What did you just say? What's the matter with you? Fine then. Since you and I are sisters, you'll only have to bring $1,000. How does that sound? Now that I've given you such a huge discount, you have to show up at the wedding, right?
You really are just completely out of line right now. And just why should I have to show up there anyways?
Oh, come on. You're not actually going to miss this, right? One of the whole reasons I want to get married is just that I can see the disappointment on your face. Surely $1,000 shouldn't be too much for you, right? After all the strings that I'm pulling and the role that I'm giving you?
Let's get something straight here. You do know that George has been disinherited, right?
Wait, what? What do you mean by that? I don't understand.
I mean that's why I've been wondering if you're really going to be able to pull off having such a huge wedding. That's why I said it'll be a wedding for a wannabe model and her unemployed husband. And I really don't know about bringing $1,000 just for that.
Wait a second. I don't understand. What is this? What are you talking about? What do you mean he's been disinherited?
So I guess you still haven't heard the news then, right? But I think you should go and ask George or his dad as soon as you can. And you should also go and find out just who is going to be paying for that wedding. You might just be able to save yourself. Or your wedding if you try and act fast.
What the heck is going on here? Why in the world did you tell Tina that I had been disinherited? What's the matter with you? That things were going so well, and I finally thought that we were going to have some smooth sailing, and then you have to come along and blow everything up.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I ruin your plan to defraud my sister through her marriage to you? It's not my fault that your dad chose to do what he did. Besides, I know that it's not just that. He's cutting you off everywhere. I know that he took your fancy black card, and I bet that isn't going to be giving you a dime for your wedding. But I still just wonder what you've been telling Tina in the midst of all of this. And just how did you think it was going to be smooth sailing? I mean, what did you think was going to happen once you two are married and she finds out that you're out of a job?
Shut up. I don't need you critiquing my plan. It was all going to work in the end, okay? Or at least everything was going to be just fine until you had to go and ruin it. Look, I thought I had done such a good job of hiding from Tina that my dad had cut me off, and when she found out, she flew into a huge panic.
Oh, yes, I bet that she would have. And I don't blame her one bit for it. It really is ironic, though. She was getting married to you and thought that she'd be set for the rest of her life. You two even wanted to invite me so that you could try and rub my face in it. But now the only people who are going to end up regretting everything are you two.
What's the matter with you? How dare you talk as if you're not a part of this? You did this. This is all your fault and you have to pay for this. Look, I have no idea what you told my dad or what he told you, but I just know that you had a part in all of this.
Wow. Well, here's a side I didn't think I would see of you. You're so desperate now. But I'm sure that you already know all of what I told your dad. I already told you exactly what I did, of course. But you had quite a different attitude when I was there at the office. You were so cocky, weren't you?
But, well, I mean, I thought you had come back to my dad's office to beg for him to make me get back together with you. And even if my dad did want to know the truth about how your sister and I got together, you didn't have to tell him the part about where I was cheating on you. But don't you realise the problems that you've made for us? I was so shocked when the day after I saw you at the office, my dad called me into his and told me the horrible news.
There you go, like a child crying because you didn't get a toy that you wanted. You thought you knew exactly what was going on, but you don't know anything.
Shut up. You don't know anything. I'm not crying. This isn't how things were supposed to go. I'd never seen my dad so mad at me before. Look, he's always given me whatever I want, and now I'm going to get nothing for the rest of my life. This can't be happening to me.
I can't believe that you've gotten this far in life and you still act like such a petulant, spoiled child. It really is just pathetic.
What did you say? You can't talk to me like that. It's not fair.
Of course your dad spoiled you. You were his one and only son. I mean, I know all about how your mom died when you were young. So obviously your dad was putting all his hopes into you. I'm not shocked at all that he is upset with you.
You don't know anything about me or my dad, so don't pretend like you do.
You know, when your dad called me into the office to talk about you and my sister, he was so crushed. He just had no idea how he could have ended up raising such a scummy son. He even said that. I could hear his voice choking up and how disappointed he was in you.
No, that can't be right. Please tell me this isn't true. This can't be happening to me.
Well, I think you have more pressing things to worry about now. Like, how are you going to afford this huge extravagant wedding that Tina kept going on and on about? Why don't you quit crying like a baby to me and get the rest of your life in order, huh? After that, Tina messaged me crying about how overnight their wedding budget had been literally decimated. She realized that she was never going to get the huge wedding she'd been bragging about. But Tina was freaking out about the wedding and wondering about how she was going to get out of her relationship with George before it was too late. She missed her chance to act. George had already sent the wedding certificate to be filed away, and wedding or no, the two were legally husband and wife now. The two of them ended up moving into a cramped little apartment and had to take the first job that they could find. George begged his father for money over and over, but it was no use. He even burst into his father's building to beg for help, but George's dad later told me was carried out by security promptly. Ever since then, Tina has been too busy handling her own crazy life with her own terrible husband to bother me anymore. As I mentioned above, George's father and I still keep in touch. I had heard from some of the staff about how angry he had gotten at his son, but to me, he had never been anything but kind and courteous. As for me, I was more or less able to rid myself of Tina and George and simply went on with my life. I was glad to have dodged that bullet and was satisfied that I had put an end to Tina's wedding plans before she would have ended up with the bill for such a huge affair. Whether she'll ever see it that way is another issue. Thank you for watching. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to see more content like this.
Thank you for watching all the way until the end. If you felt good after watching this video, please like the video. If not, please leave a comment and give us your feedback. Also, don't forget to subscribe. Your comments and likes help this channel grow. We hope you enjoy our other stories as well.
Hey, Tammy, you there? I'm really sorry to have to do this over text, but I think we should cancel our wedding. I've fallen in love with your sister, and I want to marry her instead.
Wait, what? Rick, what in the world are you talking about? Are you serious about this?
Of course I am. I've never seen a more beautiful woman in all my life. I knew when I went over to your house to meet your parents that I had to make her mine. I mean, she was just so gorgeous. It really was love at first sight.
And what about the love that we've built between us after all this time? I know that my sister is a lovely, beautiful girl who is super popular and all, but you're not really going to leave me for her, are you?
I'm sorry, but I've already made up my mind, and I'm gonna marry your sister Tiffany instead. I think she's gonna make the perfect wife to brag about to my friends.
But I don't get it. So you really just want to call it all off just like that? Even after you've already met my family and everything, you're still going to leave me for my own sister?
I know that all this might come to a shock to you now, but you should know that she was the one that started coming on to me.
What do you mean by that?
I mean that after I got back from meeting your family, she started to text me. She told me that she wanted to marry me as well. Well, she begged me to leave you and choose her instead, and, well, obviously, I wasn't about to turn down such a lovely lady. Besides, the more I talked to her, the more I realized that she really is my type.
Hold on just a second here. You mean, she was the one who approached you?
That's right. I think it's most fair to say that we found each other, but whatever the case, the point is that we're going to be getting married. So I really just don't need you anymore. That's that.
I don't believe this is happening to me. To think that my own sister stole my fiancé from me. I mean, you literally only met my parents today. Are you telling me that you really decided all of this in less than a day?
Hey, you should just count yourself lucky that I bothered to say anything to you about it at all, really. So what if I marry your sister? She's beautiful, and I'm about to start my new position as a CFO for a huge company. I'm sure that your parents don't really care which of their daughters marries a rich guy like me, so I think it's perfect.
I don't even know what to say to that. You're just horrible, Rick.
Horrible or not, I'm gonna get away with this. After all, I'm my parents' only son, so they have to go along with whatever I want. And I'm sure if I tell them I found my true love, that they would never criticize me. Especially when they see just how much prettier your sister is than you.
That's not even what I'm talking about. How could you do this to someone else? Don't you realize how wrong this is? Do you really think that both our parents are going to go along with this?
Well, I just got a message from Tiffany telling me that your parents don't care. At all. If anything, they're happy that your sister and I are together since we make such a better looking couple.
How can this be happening? I don't even know what to think right now.
I know that your sister's excited to be marrying a handsome CFO like me, though. Sure, some people might talk behind our backs, but when they see just how good a couple Tiffany and I really are, everyone will realize why we had to be together. They'll realize that I could never have had a happy marriage with you, when your sister was right there this whole time.
That's a disgusting thing to say. I thought you cared about me.
I did until I didn't. Now I want to break up. I know that you thought I was going to be a free meal ticket, but
You'll just have to find another guy to provide for you.
Hey, Tiffany, are you there? You better get back to me right now. I want to know why Rick just told me he was leaving me for you. Did you seriously flirt with my fiancé? I can't believe you would do this to me. Well, it isn't my fault that you brought back someone as handsome as Rick. You really can only blame yourself for all of this. Are you kidding me right now? Is this some kind of a game to you? Rick told me that he doesn't want to get married to me anymore. He told me that you changed his mind after he came over today. How could you do this to your own sister? How could you ruin my wedding like this? Well, you should know that Mom and Dad weren't angry about it at all. In fact, they told me they had always thought Rick and I would make a much better couple. But now I really have to hurry up and go find a dress and someone to do my makeup and all that kind of stuff. So you're really going to go through with all of this? Tammy, did you really think a guy like Rick wanted to marry you? Come on, you have beady little eyes, what can only be described as a 6 head, and have buck teeth. Did you really think that a girl that looks like you had a chance with a guy like Rick? You were practically begging for someone to come and take him from you. Why would you say all that about me? What is the matter with you, Tiffany? I'm sorry, but it's true. I'm the prettier sister out of the two of us, and I think people realized that ever since high school. I was the one dating all the athletes in our school. I'm the one who got regularly scouted by modeling agencies, so of course I would end up with a man as good-looking as me. Did you really think that an ugly little fatty like you could really ever hope to achieve the same? It was obvious you were just into Rick for his money. That isn't true. I wanted to marry Rick because I thought he loved me. I didn't care what his job was. Well, there you go. Now you're just proving that you don't know how the game is played. But of course, an ugly girl like you would have such a naive view of marriage. You just need to realize that you're outclassed by people like Rick and I, and you should know your place. Why are you talking to me like this? Isn't it enough that you stole my fiancé from me? Besides, do you have any idea how hard I try to look pretty when I go out? Well, that's just it. You could have all the makeup in the world, but there's no point in trying to doll up a pig like you. I don't care how hard you think you worked, it was all for naught. How dare you say that to me when every time I would buy makeup or something nice or an accessory, you would always steal it from me? I swear I have no idea what you're talking about in the slightest. Yes, you do. You would come into my room, insult me, and say that a girl like me doesn't deserve nice things. You always did that to me, so that's why I only started buying myself cheap products that I knew you wouldn't want to steal. Well, it's like I said, there was no point in you using anything nice anyways. It was just obvious that those things would be better suited on me. And you can't really be mad at me for reminding you of your place when you forgot it. Just like your engagement with Rick. You certainly do like to shoot for the stars, but that's not where little piggies like you belong. Tiffany, please, you really don't need to talk to me like that. You're being so cruel. Well, this is what you get for thinking you ever had a chance with a guy like Rick. Obviously, someone as handsome and successful as him could only be with a girl as pretty as me. Did you really think that with all the options in front of him to choose from, he was going to go with someone like you? I still don't get why he would want to be with you. Doesn't he realize what a mess you are upstairs? I may not be as pretty as you, but at least I don't have nearly as many issues, and at least I actually have a brain. And just what is that supposed to mean, huh? I mean that it's true, you were dating earlier than I was, but that's also because I was busy studying. Meanwhile, you would ditch class and stay out late over at boys' houses without Mom and Dad knowing. And just why would some beautiful person like me waste my time studying? I don't need to debase myself like that. If I wanted to succeed in life, all I have to do is find a rich man willing to marry me. So you're saying the difference between you and I is that I understand the value in working for what's mine? Do you really think that not studying was a smart move for you? I remember you falling asleep at your desk almost every night that I would be sneaking out to have fun. And thanks to that, I was able to go to one of the top universities in the country and land a job at an excelled firm. And now thanks to that, I'm already working in upper management and earning a ton. Do you know anyone else our age who can afford a condo like the one I live in? Even Rick's parents thought it was impressive. Oh, so you think that just because you worked hard to get a paying job that means anything? Well, I'm not going to play your little pity party. The only reason you need to work hard is because you could never do what I do. And just what even is it that you do? Well, I used my looks to steal your fiancé away from you, for one, so I suppose you should have been studying dating books instead. All it took was a little smile and some of my girlish charm, and now I'm getting married and you're not. You're really an idiot if you think you're going to get away with this, Tiffany. Well, I guess that means that you let yourself get beat by an idiot then, huh? You really are just pathetic, do you know that? I have been trying all my life to help you learn how to know your place and live within your means, but for whatever reason, you always think you deserve more just because you work for it. Well, how did that turn out for you? Because I'm going to marry Rick and you're not. Well, fine then, you can have him. Wait, what? What do you mean? I mean that I'm actually happy. I never thought I was going to get to escape like this, but here we are. So good luck taking care of Rick and his parents. Take care of them? What are you even talking about right now? And why are you so happy that I stole your rich fiancé from you? You should be getting mad at me. I mean, now you're not going to get married, and I'm never going to have to work a day in my life. You think you're marrying a rich man, but you are dead wrong. So consider this my way of expressing pity for you. But the truth is that Rick is very, very poor. Poor? Tammy, literally what are you even saying? He's the CFO for a Fortune 500 company. There's no way that he's poor. That's impossible. I suppose all you needed to hear was that he was a CFO and you filled in all the blanks yourself. But Rick only works for his parents' company, whose best days were about 2 decades ago. Now the only thing the company has left to hold on to is its name. What are you saying? I don't understand what you're getting at. Well, I used to work for an investment firm, as you know, and while there, I was once shown Rick's family file, and, well, it wasn't good. They had been taking out loans repeatedly for years and haven't been able to pay them back. It sounds like the whole family is in a lot of trouble financially. Wait, no, this can't be right at all. This doesn't make any sense. If they're borrowing money, then are you trying to tell me that his family is in debt? That's right. And it's not just your typical business debt. They have run their finances deep into the red by this point. That can't be right. Well, it's true. Of course, many businesses take on some debt as startup capital, but this is much different than that. I don't understand. How could it get that bad for them? I thought that his family was rich. Well, apparently they got into some kind of trade war with another firm from a different country, and it was basically a race to the bottom for both of them. So they ended up making far less in sales and needed to take more loans to make up the difference. Are you kidding me? That's a terrible idea. I agree, and I was really shocked when I first heard that this was happening. In fact, Rick was just telling me this after he came to visit us at home. Well, he didn't tell me, but I happened to overhear him talking about this with his parents over the phone. I heard him talking about how even though I was ugly, I had the money they needed. He thought that I was going to use my income to take care of all his family. You mean that even his parents were in on this? That's right. I asked him if his family was having financial trouble, and that's when he came forward to me about all the debt. But I guess he didn't mention any of that to you when you two agreed to get married. But you should know that he's just looking for someone to leech off of. But I had no idea about any of the debt at all, I swear. Well, then you would better go and cancel your engagement to him now, don't you think? Hold on a second, this is all part of your plan, isn't it? You're trying to scare me away from being with Rick so that you can try and take him back from me. Well, you had me going for a while, I'll admit, but your trick isn't going to work on me. It's really not a trick, but whatever. It's your life and you can do what you want with it.
Tammy, you have to help me. I went to tell my parents that I was going to marry your sister, and they were furious with me. They called me an idiot for throwing away all the money you have just to marry your prettier sister, but I had no idea that all our finances were that bad.
Are you stupid or something? You are next in line to take over the family business, and you're telling me you had no idea how bad the situation really was?
I mean, I knew that we were in a little bit of trouble, but I figured it was nothing that I couldn't fix with a little hard work. I just thought my parents were being overdramatic about all this.
Wow, and you're literally the CFO of your parents' company. It is your job to handle all the financial matters.
I know, but is it really true that your sister never even went to college?
That's right. She was too busy sleeping around with all her boyfriends to care about studying at all. And I think with the job she has now, she barely brings in over $10,000 a year.
Her salary is that low.
I don't know if you call money from part-time jobs a salary, but yes, basically. My sister always told herself that working was beneath her and that she was just waiting for the right rich man to come and save her from having to do so.
But I was marrying her because I thought we could live off of her income for a while.
Wow. Well, it sounds to me like you both are more perfect for each other than either of you originally thought. Anyways, now that you and my sister both realize and we're not getting married anymore, I really don't see why I need to be involved in any more of this. You two are both awful people, and I'm glad that you've found each other. Now please leave me alone and never, ever talk to me again. In the end, it took them getting married for Tiffany to finally realize the mess that she had stepped into. About a week after their marriage, Rick officially took over his family's business and understood just how much debt they were all in. As rumors of the company's finances and poor management began to spread, more and more staff ended up quitting. And I hear that the company is really on its last legs these days. As for my sister, with no schooling or work experience, she began to work at a bar serving the kind of men she thought Rick was originally. As for Rick, he began his second job bagging groceries at a supermarket. I am sure that never in a million years did CFO Rick ever think he would be working two jobs like this. Both Rick and Tiffany thought that the other was just what they were looking for, and it turned out that it was just the opposite. All I know is that I'm glad I dodged that bullet and know enough about my family and Rick's to know that I never want anything to do with them again. As for me, I continued with my job and kept climbing the corporate ladder. I still have my nice condo where I live by myself as I ease my way back into the dating pool. After I cut off my sister, I began to buy the nice products that I had avoided in the past, and I already have a date lined up for next week. If I had known that all my life was missing was cutting out my sister from it, I would have done it a long time ago.
Thank you for watching till the end. If you felt good about this video, like the video. If you didn't like it, let me know why in the comments. Subscribe too. Your likes and subs lead to our motivation. We have so many videos on our channel as well, so go ahead and take a look. See you in the next video.